What's going on, guys? It's your boy Boxing Facts with Fiction. I need you guys to do me a favor, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification icon for more videos like this. Avni Yildirim wins the WBC super middleweight title by winning in a controversial fight against Avni Yildirim. He won a technical split decision against Avni Yildirim in a very controversial fight. A lot of people always get the Yildirim brothers mixed up. This is Avni Yildirim, not Andre Yildirim. Andre Yildirim is the one who fought in a tournament, and he was hurt. He was hurt in the tournament. I believe it was the Super 6. He was hurt in the Super 6 versus Arthur Abraham. These brothers always been in a lot of controversial fights. He got hurt with a cheap shot from Arthur Abraham, and he was also in a recent controversial fight as well. In the fight, he got hurt again. He got knocked out by Jose Ustigal. Not Anthony, I'm talking about Andre, the brother of Anthony. But he got knocked out in like the end of the round, and his uncle jumped in and punched Jose Ustigal, the same Jose Ustigal who just got outboxed by Caleb Plant. I mean, this is boxing, man. A lot of controversial stuff goes on. But congrats to Caleb Plant for showing a beautiful display of boxing skills. But anyway, let me stay on topic. This was the main event on PBC. Avni Yildirim versus Avni Yildirim for the WBC super middleweight. But let's not forget, he's been champion before. Avni Yildirim won the belt from Sakio Bika in I believe 2014. And then right after that, he lost that same belt to Badu Jack in a majority decision, which was a great fight. Man, that was Badu Jack first world title fight, and Badu Jack stepped up to the plate and won the fight. But one thing we gotta remember is boxing is a very, very crazy sport to keep up with, because this is the same guy who knocked out Caleb Truax in the first round. He knocked out Caleb Truax in the first round. Caleb Truax, he beat James DeGale. He beat James DeGale for the title the first time. Caleb Truax, who got knocked out in the first round by Avni Yildirim, beat James DeGale for the IBF belt, even though James DeGale ran it back and won the IBF belt back. But it still was a controversial close fight. He got the unanimous decision, but he didn't look that good. But anyway, Avni Yildirim, he's been in there with a much better competition than the Avni Yildirim. He has a really good record. Before this fight, he was 32. He had 32 wins, and he only had that one loss. His only loss was to Badu Jack. That's his only loss. But he looked good in this fight. He looked really good. A 34-year-old versus a 27-year-old. I mean, it was a great fight from Anthony. In my opinion, I thought the Raw game plan was corny. I mean, the Raw, in my opinion, is an underrated fighter. I think he's better than what a lot of people give him credit for. The guy only has one loss in his career, and he's been in there with top competitions. He's been in there with world-class fighters. So he probably thought he could go in here and knock this guy out like Chris Eubank Jr. did. This is the same Avni Yildirim who got knocked out by Chris Eubank Jr. in the World Boxing Super Series. He got knocked out in impressive fashion by Chris Eubank Jr. Chris Eubank Jr. even posed after the knockout. I mean, it was an impressive fight by Chris Eubank Jr. Chris Eubank Jr. went in there just to take this guy head off, and that's exactly what he did. And I guess Avni Yildirim thought he could do the same. To be honest, I thought Avni Yildirim could have knocked the guy out. I thought he could have knocked Avni Yildirim out if he would have boxed him, if he would have established his jab and just boxed him. He was a much better boxer. He didn't have to go toe-to-toe with this guy to put on a show. But he felt like he could trade with this guy. He was landing some really good shots, some really good body shots. He was breaking his man down. But there was no reason for that. This young guy's a dog. He likes to come forward. He doesn't establish his jab. He just comes forward, straightforward, and applies a lot of pressure. The only difference in this fight is Avni Yildirim didn't have enough pop to keep Anthony Dirrell off him. He didn't have enough power to hurt Dirrell. So that's why the fight was very entertaining, because they both was landing big shots. But Dirrell was clearly landing more punches. I mean, there was no robbery in this fight, just controversial at the end. I mean, when you look at the scorecards for every round, you can clearly see Dirrell was landing more punches. His punches was almost double the amount of punches Yildirim was landing. But I think he fought the wrong fight. Even though he was landing more punches, he was the better, more accurate puncher. But he fought the wrong fight, in my opinion. He could have easily won this fight. He was the much better boxer all around. He could have just established the jab and just broke down Avni Yildirim and possibly stopped this guy. But he wanted to go to war. It was the main event, and it looked like he wanted to put on a show, and it almost cost him the victory. This fight shouldn't have went 10 rounds. I thought this fight should have been over earlier than that. I guess it's the age, you know, when a guy hit 32, 33. I mean, he's 34, so when a guy hits that age, he starts to slow down, even though he's only had one loss in his career. But you start to slow down, your reflexes isn't as good as it used to be. At 34 years old, he still looked good, but he didn't look as sharp as he usually does. He got tired of using his legs. I think he should have used his leg more. He may be the better boxer out of his brother. Him and his brother, even though his brother was a bronze medalist in like the 2004 Olympics. But he may be the better boxer. His record shows that he could be the better boxer because he's been in there with better boxers. His brother was a champion. His brother, Andre Dirrell, he won his IBF belt, and he got beat up by James DeGill. James DeGill came to his hometown and took his IBF belt, and ever since then, Andre Dirrell never been the same. But Anthony Dirrell, he's been looking good. Even though he's 34 years old, he still looks good. Even though he fought the wrong fight, he was the much better fighter in this fight. You can see he clearly landed a more meaningful shots in this fight. He mixed his punches up. He went to the body, he went to the head. He threw the uppercut. He was just landing the better punches. And he was landing the punches that had more sting on it. Yeah, Avni Yildirim, he landed 1 or 2 good punches in every round. But it just wasn't equal to the amount of punches that Dirrell was landing. You could clearly see Dirrell was dominating the fight. I think the referee stopped the fight based on that cut. That was one of the nastiest cuts I've ever seen. I'm not gonna lie, that was one of the nastiest cuts I've ever seen. The cut happened on headbutts. Avni Yildirim, he fights with his head down, so he's gonna headbutt you. It's probably a tactic from this guy. I feel like this guy, he headbutts you on purpose, cause he always fight with his head down. He headbutted Dirrell twice in this. Like I said, it's probably a tactic from this guy. He just puts his hand up, no defense, just comes straight forward. Just thinks he's gonna bulldoze you. That's not gonna work. This is professional boxing. You have to have some defense. You can't just come with your head forward and try to headbutt a guy like he did in this fight. He headbutted Darrell twice in this fight. I mean, it was ridiculous from him. It was ridiculous. But the referee stopped the fight in the 10th round because of the nasty cut. I mean, if they're going to stop that fight with 2 rounds to go, they should have stopped the Badou Jack fight. Badou Jack cut was way worse. It was in the front of his forehead. This one was on his eye, on Anthony Darrell's eye. The Badou Jack fight should have been stopped. Badou Jack versus Marcus Brown. That fight wasn't stopped. I have no idea why this fight was stopped. But when the announcer stopped the fight, Avni Yildirim and his team started to celebrate. They thought they won the fight because Anthony Darrell probably quit, or the fight was stopped because of a punch. But that was not the case. The fight was stopped because of an accidental headbutt. In my opinion, it wasn't accidental. It was Avni Yildirim tactic. That's how he fights. Like I said, it wasn't accidental. It was Avni Yildirim tactics. The guy fights like that. He fights with his head down. So he's going to headbutt you. You have to be prepared for that. That's why you box him instead of trying to walk him down. The only person that can get away with it is a guy like Chris Eubank Jr. because he takes really weird angles. So if you box him, you'll stop him. Instead of trying to bang with him, he's going to headbutt you. But then they made it clear it was because of a headbutt, not a punch. Anthony Darrell did not quit. The ref stopped the fight. So it was a controversial decision. And they went to the scorecards, and everybody and their mom should know that Anthony Darrell was definitely up on the scorecards. He landed the better, more effective punches. He won the belt. Anthony Darrell, at 34 years old, is the new WBC, 2-time WBC super middleweight champion. And to be honest, I think he's in line to fight Chris Eubank Jr. Chris Eubank Jr. wants a title shot, and it looks like he might go that Chris Eubank Jr. route instead of a David Benavidez route. Like I said, I see Anthony Darrell fighting Chris Eubank Jr. instead of David Benavidez. David Benavidez is too much for Anthony Darrell right now. I think he gets stopped by David Benavidez. I think his better option to defend his title will be against a Chris Eubank Jr. if he doesn't retire. But do me a favor, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button for more videos like this.